Okay, we are live. Welcome everybody to another TENFITMEN live stream. So we are on YouTube and we are on Instagram live as well. So thanks everybody for joining. This will be very open live, and I would like to hear as many questions as possible from you guys. So this is how I would like to direct this conversation. So hopefully we can have people here interacting, and then we can kind of discuss together. And in future, I would like to add features like sharing the screen with somebody. I think this has to be with a different software. I need to explore those options. If somebody has a recommendation, please feel free to do so. What's up, Liam? So always happy to hear to see some familiar people here, and I really appreciate it. Like, it feels like we are part of some team, some worldwide community, and it's really special. So let's get started. And if there is anything you would like to ask or to talk about, we can do that. So feel free to ask any tennis related question or maybe make some suggestions. So I'm going to read both from YouTube and from Instagram. So okay, we have a question about training online, and yeah, we are doing now the live stream. So now we're gonna actually talk tennis. If you want to have some more personal question, you can find me on any of the platforms. You can send a private message so we can talk about it. But anyways, maybe we could keep the conversation more about something present that's actual, that's at the moment very popular. So now we had Indian Wells, the 1000 ATP Masters just finished, and it was kind of surprising in the finals. If you've seen Rafael Nadal, he lost to Taylor Fritz in two close sets. I didn't watch the match. I watched some highlights, and also I listened to their interviews after. It was very sad to see Rafa. He was really down. He looked down, and because he had some physical problem, and you kind of you have the empathy, like compassion for that, because he was on this amazing streak, 20 or 21 matches, and of course in the final it's always special, but he wasn't able to play his best. So if you have any comments about this match or the tournaments, you can also write about that. We have some questions now here, so I'm gonna read it. So let's go. Okay. Safa Hawam. Difference between tennis and paddle. Yeah, this is probably interesting question, but I'm not the best person to answer this because I've never played paddle. I've heard a lot of tennis players actually were getting into it, and I have some friends. They were playing more and more paddle, so it turns out to be interesting. It's just somehow for me, nothing can compare to tennis. Tennis is just on a certain level. Like, you cannot reach all these sports like table tennis, badminton, squash. Now you have paddle and racquetball, whatever. It's just I don't want to say I don't accept these sports, but tennis is tennis. These are all kind of like derivatives, kind of. I don't know. Maybe I'm like wrong here, but I feel like all this kind of sports kind of emerged. Now, how they say, like they were kind of born out of tennis. It's just tennis is like the main sport, and it's cannot compare. Like all the sports, like the space is so small. Like it's not so challenging. I feel I don't want to underestimate. Maybe I'm totally wrong here, and I know some people will disagree highly, and which is fine. For me, it's just like tennis is tennis. It's like it's a different level of sport. So that's my answer to that. I'm gonna alternate. So because we have also some questions on YouTube. Hope everything is fine. Lockdown in Shanghai. Yeah, it's a very difficult period because it's not the period where the lockdown should happen. And as you can see in the rest of the world, I don't know where you're at. Feel free to write down where you're at now, so we know where we're like connecting from. But it's very, very sad and almost like it's frustrating, because you think like it shouldn't happen now at this point. Like a lot of places, pretty much the whole world is kind of open, and the pandemic is not anymore at that level, and most of the countries, they are changing their policies, but China is very, very strict, very special, and now they're like putting us in lockdowns, like block by block, and it's very complicated, because as long as there is a close contact in your neighborhood or in your compound or the building, they will close you for a longer time, and you never know. They might keep you. They might keep you for 14 days. Some people, they were like held inside for many, many days. So today is my third day under lockdown, and it's really, really difficult. I did the workouts, that's fine, but of course I miss being outdoor. I miss playing tennis outside, and it is what it is. This is why we can have chances to interact a bit more in this way. So I'm also happy for that. Okay, Anton. Fritz is playing his best tennis. He has improved so much. Of course, that's definitely great fact. And another fact that kind of contributes this result is that he was playing at home. You know how that feels when you're playing at home. It's totally special, and it's a different story. Okay, so we're gonna move. Thanks for sharing beautiful and also useful tennis videos. You're welcome. And Taylor played phenomenal. What was Nadal's most struggle in the final? Okay, we have a question from Shabir. Nadal's most struggle in the final. Yes, as I said, I didn't really watch the final. I just saw a few points from highlights, and honestly, it looked like there was a lot of wind, but this is definitely not like a difficulty for him. It shouldn't be the difficulty for him, right? He's probably one of the most experienced players out there. I think he had this problem with his chest or something. He said that he felt this pain inside. Like, I don't think he would fake that. Like, it really felt that he was really disappointed at the end, and he said he was feeling dizzy because of this, lack of air, and he couldn't breathe. Even though, the highlights, it is just highlights, but some of them like really look like he was there. I mean, he was hitting some amazing shots on both sides, forehand and backhand. He was running. I couldn't tell that he was not that he's 100%, but he said that he wasn't able to do things that he usually does. So I think the struggle was just playing at his main level. Like tactically, I really cannot tell, because I wasn't really analyzing the match. So if somebody has a comment on that, that would be also nice if somebody watched the match. Okay, thanks a lot. Okay, George, I'm from Shanghai too, locked down without tennis. That's the most difficult part when you're locked down. I feel you, George. Elliot, how's your day been? Not the best, but not too bad. Did some workout, played a bit of guitar, had a Chinese lesson. So I made a couple of other posts, and that's it. Had some food. How to decide for one specific racket? Have a Gravity MP Pro and Extreme Pro and Speed. Came back to tennis last year, and I'm switching between rackets all the time. I know I should stick with one. Mai Tai. Thanks for the question. Again, not the best person to answer this kind of questions, especially because I don't even know what type of racket is that. Gravity MP, like, is this Extreme Pro Speed? Honestly, I don't even know what brand. So yeah, I don't know which brand. But yeah, I was never too precise and picky with rackets. Okay, they are head rackets. Yes. Again, I cannot really tell you about these models, but regarding the choice, how to choose the racket, it's kind of related to your game style and obviously your level. like where you're at in your tennis level and what's your body constitution. If you're like strong guy and you have these powerful shots, you definitely need like how we would say like a strong machine or something. So heavy racket, and again depends on your strokes, if it's more flat or more topspin. Also depends on the pattern of the strings. So it really, it's very individual. You need to know like your game style and how you're playing. But yeah, the more advanced you are, you should look into more of those like pro rackets. And if not, if you're more like amateur or more like still learning, then you could stick with some lighter rackets and something that gives you a bit more control rather than power, something like that. Chris, what is your favorite tennis racket? Wilson. I've been playing with Wilson rackets my whole life, and apart from, there was this I think the beginning when I first started, I had this Kennex. I don't know if anybody knows Kennex racket. It's a very special brand. I don't know if anybody plays today with this, and it was a blue racket. I remember I had only one, so I had this one Kennex racket, and I remember I broke it by accident when I was trying to serve. I was training on against the wall, and I was watching this one of our club's best players at that time, and later on he was a member of Davis Cup team for Serbia, and he was famous for his like super fast serve. He had like a very unique movement on the serve, and I was watching him, and I was like, wow, that's amazing. And then I was so fired up, so I would try this kind of like fast motion and faster whatever, and I dropped the racket, and of course because it was a concrete, it landed exactly on the frame and it broke, and I was devastated. But anyways, it's not a question. I'm a bit doing this digression. Yes, Wilson. Apart from that, like I always played with Wilson, and I changed a lot of different. How to say? I started with Pro Staff, and then I was playing with the. I even forgot what was the. They were changing the technology, like a hyper carbon, and then eventually now I came back. I'm playing with Blade. Yeah, in the recent years with Blade. But there was one period I used the Babolat, and it was the one with a thinner frame. I forgot them all. That was just maybe for like a half a year. I was trying that. And also Technofiber. Yes, I forgot that. There was maybe 2 years period I played with Technofiber, but this racket, the frame looked identical with the Wilson that I was using. Anyways, by far, yes, I would say Wilson. So I need to try to answer questions a little bit quicker because we have a lot of questions. Wow, really appreciate it, guys. Thanks a lot. So I think now we should just switch for one question to Instagram. Is Nadal's session in jeopardy now due to an injury? Season, sorry, it's Nadal's seasons. Thank you, Hannah. Sorry for waiting. I cannot reach all the questions. I mean, really cannot answer this. I have no idea. Hopefully not. Hopefully he will be able to do the rehab and the recovery, and it's maybe just something that happens once like one day. For example, this morning I also felt a very, very sharp pain like under the right rib cage here. It was actually very scary. Hopefully it's nothing bad, but sometimes you have this kind of pain like just comes and goes. Let's see. So hopefully not. Hopefully he will be able to play. Okay, let's go to YouTube here. Wow. Why are you living in China? Why not in USA? There's really no particular reason. It was just completely random decision. It was not a decision. It's just it's a random circumstance, right? I got this offer from a friend, and then I said, okay, I'm gonna try it. I never planned to come to Asia, like, and specifically China as well. But I ended up here, and so far I'm based here. But hopefully I will be able to travel soon. So let's see where the next trip, the next journey takes me. So I'm very open. So we'll see. Sorry, I cannot. My eyes are a little bit like I cannot keep track. So we are here. Mark, are you staying up to date on Boris' trial now in London? Boris's trial now in London. Sorry, I'm not. I'm not following. You can a little bit explain which Boris trial. So I'm not sure. I go to the next one. You can, if you can explain a bit more, I would appreciate it, Mark. How to how to apply tennis book science knowledge in practice session? That's a good question. How to apply the theory, right? How to apply theory uh, in practice. I think that's something where a lot of players might struggle with. When you have the knowledge and then you have to apply it. So it's tough to say. I would think you definitely need to have camera, so you have to record yourself. So whatever is your knowledge about a certain stroke, a certain shot, and then you try to play it. It's usually not gonna be as you imagine you are doing, right? So this is why you want to record it. So when you record it, then you can watch the video and then you can analyze. So if your goal is just to make it as close as possible to your theoretical knowledge, right? If you know how to execute certain shot, then you can do it better when you like watch the video. So I hope that makes sense. This is what first comes to my mind, like using the camera, using the video analysis, but also it will help a lot if you have somebody who can be there and they can kind of guide you through. How much tennis do you watch, Elliot? Not much, honestly. Like only some highlights. That's it. Maybe he shouldn't have gotten vaccinated and showed support. Okay. Okay, Dave. I'm not sure I understand. All of them are head rackets. Okay, George, quite famous in the tennis circle in Shanghai. Thanks, George. Elliot, Rafa wasn't 100%. I watched the match. The second set tiebreak, he was 5-4 up. He missed an easy forehand up. And I know this. It was a drive volley. He played an amazing point. Easy forehand up at the net, put in miles wide, which would took him to set point, which cost him match. Exactly. I made a comment on this video. I saw this video on YouTube, and I put a comment there. I said that point, that drive, it's just one shot, maybe, switch the match, like the outcome of the match. But you cannot say, because it's still like, he will have 2 set points, maybe Fritz, he would save those set points, or even if Rafa would have won the second set, maybe that wouldn't be enough, because he was not feeling well, but it could have changed easily the outcome of the match. Dave, when serving, should your weight move to your front leg as you release your toss? Yeah. So this is always a little bit kind of tricky to explain, right? Especially when you're not able to demonstrate, and it also depends if you're doing the pinpoint or platform stance. But let's say, assuming that we're doing a pinpoint, because this is where you're going to have more weight transfer, right? To your front leg. Yeah, you should first, the weight move to your front leg. So as you release the toss, you should kind of bring the feet together, right? So it's first the toss, and then you kind of bring the feet together. There are some videos about it. I think it's better if you watch, but great. I think on Instagram there's some problem with connection. Maybe not. Okay. The question, how to serve, and Nicholas. This is so these are kind of type of questions that are better answered through the video, right? And through some examples when you can demonstrate. So the serve is the most complex shot. Everybody knows here. It takes a lot of time to practice. What's your favorite player? Who's your favorite player? I would. It's tough to say. Very, very tough to say. I mean, it's one thing to say maybe who you like to watch the most. I think there's only one player that I would watch. Like if I have the chance to watch, if I have the whatever the channel, or if I have the way, the streaming, I would like get up at any time, especially for big matches, and that's Novak Djokovic, right? He's a friend, and he's something like really, really special, like for my country, and everybody supports him like endlessly. So definitely, I like to watch him, and he's definitely up there, one of my favorite players. But I also like some others, like a bit more unorthodox players, not just because they're fun to watch, but because of the variety of the game. And if you can kind of close your eyes and not see the bad behavior, right? I like Nick Kyrgios, his style, and his creativity in the game. It's always fun to watch. Also players like Alexander Bublik, Gael Monfils, these kind of players. And before I really like to watch. I really liked Gustavo Kuerten. I don't know how to pronounce the Brazilian player. He won 3 times the French Open. So, and also, of course, Roger Federer is. I shouldn't mention him at the end, but definitely he has also amazing variation in the game, and it's really special to watch. So, something like that. Thanks for the question. You're welcome for the answer. I own the Wilson Blade V8. Awesome feel and precision. Thanks, Chris. Thanks for sharing that. Yes, I have that one. Okay, there's some connection problem. I'm just checking if it's still working. It's really difficult in China because we are using this VPNs, this virtual positioning network, or whatever that means, because they block all these platforms in this country. So hopefully we are still live, and yeah, I'm going through the questions. I'm gonna stick more with YouTube because we have more committed crowd here. So Instagram, please bear with me here. Can you give some advice on singles and double strategy for intermediate player when playing against a better player's topspin? Wow, that's like 2 questions in one. Both singles and double strategy. Okay, let's start with great question though. I appreciate that because it can be a great topic, right? So when playing against a better player, starting with singles, first of all, it depends if you know the player, right? If you know them well, then you will be able to come up with a certain strategy, or your homework, your job is to kind of gather all the possible information you can about the player. Like, so even if you don't know them, you try to gather the information, like ask around, or if they are like, I don't know at which level you play, maybe there are some videos of that player, or you can talk to different people, ask, search. You need to do your research. So you should kind of prepare some tactics. So that's number one. The number two, you should also know your style, like what is your game and how you can adjust your game when you're playing this against this particular opponent. Now, along the lines, when the player is the higher level and they're above you, whatever that means on the paper, you shouldn't really be like so how to say tough on that, like, and so strict if somebody's better ranked, so they're a better player. And that was also one problem that I had. Like, it's you always have this kind of you overestimate your opponents, right? And then immediately kind of limits your belief or chances to win. So you shouldn't really look at the rankings. But yeah, you should focus, as always. It doesn't matter, they're better players. Like, you should focus on your strength. Try to really, really do as much as you can, and give yourself chances to use your strengths as much as possible, because against good players you really don't have other options. Like, you have to go and show your best. And again, if you know them, you might be able to find a way to kind of, look for their weakness. But in general, I would always recommend going for your strength from your for your weapon, right? And the strategy, again, I cannot talk about strategy because it depends who is your opponent and what is your game style. I hope that makes sense. And then for the doubles, it's the same, right? You want to focus on the strength of your team. If your opponent is good at net, you will try to put him or her more towards the net, or whatever, which side who is returning better, and you want to communicate better. In doubles, is all about being a team, playing as a team, and having a strategy, coming up with different formations. Maybe that can also affect the opponents. But anyways, it's a good strategy. It's a good question, so appreciate that. Hopefully that kind of gives you some idea. It's very generic though. So Maximilian, is it worth it to spend money on getting several rackets to same balance weight? If I understand this correctly, you're asking if it makes sense to have like just multiple rackets and make them with exactly the same. Okay. Okay, I see. So it's not a question about buying several rackets. It's just you already have several rackets, and then is it worth to kind of pay to the stringers to kind of make them balance with those little weight adjustments? I believe that's the question, right? But honestly, like me personally, I haven't done it, not yet. And definitely on the more like advanced levels, this makes a difference. And of course, all the players who are at certain level, they will do this kind of like balancing the rackets. So it depends on your level. If you're up there in terms of levels, it should be worth it for sure. Chris, how would you compare your blade to a new Clash, and what's your favorite blade version? Wow. Okay, first of all, the second question, I would say I prefer the V7 over V8. It's just a little bit softer, I would say. V8 is, this direct handle design, and it feels, and also the material. I think they will use this cross fiber, whatever, 45 degrees cross fiber technology. I think the racket's a little bit stiffer, right? So I just prefer like softer feel, V7. And the new Clash, it's the first Clash that I actually felt that I could play with, and they have this like a heavier model, and the string pattern is a bit different, 16 times 20, but it feels good. It feels good. I think I would still use V7 if I like when I play matches again. I would use the V7. Hopefully, it's not vaccine related. Okay. Which from the top players you trained was rude and which was nicest? This is a bit tricky question to answer, but yeah, I'm sure none of those players will be here, so I can kind of talk about it openly. But no, honestly, most of the players are super nice, very, very, very friendly, and even though, of course, those trainings are mostly like just as their warm up for the matches, so they will kind of be, I understand they will be in their zone, so sometimes you really you can relate when you're before the match. You're not really so much in the mood, like even if you're with somebody you're close to, it depends on your character, but some players really like to be in the zone and they just do their thing. They're not going to interact too much, which it doesn't mean they're rude, right? But I could say who were like the nicest. The first that comes to my mind, Mike Bryan. He was just super chill. Like we had these conversations, and it just felt we're like friends for I don't know, from teenager years, and we're just like chatting, like we haven't met for a while, and Of course, with Noel is always super relaxed, even though he's very serious for the warm ups. But we will always joke around a bit. Uh, Medvedev, Medvedev was super funny, and also like he would comment on my YouTube channel, which I was like, no way. He said, "Yeah, yeah, I know you. I know you. I saw your YouTube channel. That's pretty cool." And then, yeah, that was like shocking. I couldn't believe. And then another fun moment was when Bublik said, "Man, you live in such a small apartment." I said, "What?" I saw because at that period I was also doing some vlogs. So I would make a vlog like where I like have the camera in my apartment, and he said, "Man, you live in such a small apartment." So like some of these guys they saw some of the videos, so that was cool. But yeah, others are also like Matt Ebden. Ebden was good, very very friendly. Sanctuary. Most Americans are super friendly, like very very like open, like for conversation. I'm sure I'm forgetting somebody. I'm forgetting some people, and it's but mostly very very nice experience. Um, how often do you compete aside from teaching tennis daily? Yeah, I think the last one was like a year and a half ago. Oh, almost in May. I think in May is going to be 2 years. I think it was the first year of pandemic, the first year when the COVID breakout. In China, 2020. I think I played one tournament during that like, summer. Yeah, that's the like the local prize money tournament. That was the last one. So 2 years ago. Very sad. Swing vision. I haven't tried, Chris. Matthews. Do you do investments? No, not really, but I want to do some because I also studied finance and I always kind of regret regret that I still like I don't have time to do something more on that. How do you keep the level of tennis? Yeah, this is a good question. I don't know if I keep it because I don't play with that level at the moment. I'm playing with some juniors and I keep my shape. Hopefully, I think the serve is there, but like for the ground strokes, for some movement, I think I would need like maybe a week or 2 weeks of a bit more intense trainings to kind of get back in really in a good zone to get there. But I don't think I'm too far. So I want to improve my serve and volley game. Do you have videos about that topic? Serve and volley game. Oof, that's great, Anton. Thanks for the question. I know I have obviously a lot of serve videos and some volley videos. And serve and volley, I might have some, maybe one or two that talk about this kind of how to practice that. Maybe you can look it up. If not, let me take this screenshot and I'm gonna remember this question. So thank you so much, and I'm gonna consider that for next time when I have a chance to make the video on court. I'm gonna focus on that. So thank you a lot. How was your feeling when you trained with Joko Novak? Yeah, special feeling. I don't know if you saw some videos. I think the videos can show really, really like how it felt and the whole atmosphere, especially like the first time we trained. That's like something really, really mm, very special because you kind of wait, you think about it so much when you find out you might have a chance for it, and then it's just you cannot think about anything else. And also, since it's been so long since we played as juniors, we also trained and we played against each other, like under 16, I think, or even under 18. There was right before he like started playing pro. He played some I think it was a league. There was a league in Serbia, so we represented different clubs and we faced each other. Yeah, feeling is very, very special, like unforgettable. So it's tough to play with him without thinking about, who are you playing with, which is my goal, which is always my goal. When you play with these guys, I mean, especially him and this level, it's like if you keep thinking, oh my god, who is on the other side of the net, it's ridiculously difficult to hit. Like even the easiest shots, like it becomes like almost impossible mission. So the goal is just trying to block it out, even though like you want to enjoy that, the fact you want to enjoy the fact that oh wow, Djokovic is on the other side of the net, you want to enjoy that. But on the other hand, if you do that, you might get kind of, you might lose the quality, and you might be distracted. So I always try to almost not see the other side of the court and just look at the ball and just focus on just my routine when you're playing the shots, and then I think like maybe I can enjoy like between the shots, or between the when we sit down and when I feel the atmosphere, or even when I watch the video after, you kind of try to kind of zone out. But yeah, special. Best strings for spin. Dinko. Not expert for this either. I'm really not into these details. Like for the rackets, that's probably something that I should be better at. But I never really gave a lot of importance to this. Maybe it's my, how to say, weakness, because now I'm playing with this very simple like poly strings, and it's still completely like unknown brand. I think it's Taiwanese brand, and but they work really well for me, at least for what I'm doing now. And even if I play with some like higher level players, it's fine, at least for trainings. So I couldn't tell you much, except that what I know is like if there's those strings with some edges, like a bit sharper. What is it? RPM blast rough, something like that. So when the string is a bit like with some edges, it makes sense. It's gonna give a bit more spin, if that makes sense. What do you think about Dustin Brown? Exactly, he's also one of the how to say, one of the eccentrics, one of the super fun, and I don't know, that level of talent is undeniable. Like you put him, like let's say players like him, Kyrgios, who else is, maybe Bernard Tomic, or some of these guys, they can come up with shots that you just like cannot believe it. Beno Paire also, like I forgot about him. He's also like super fun. It's just like from some other world, when you watch this, especially Dustin Brown. Yes, like how to a prodigy, right? Can you call him prodigy? Like completely like unique. Becker faces trial. Oh, Becker. Oh, Boris Becker. Okay, Mark now made it clear. Over failure to use trophies to settle debts. Wow. Over failure to use trophies. Yeah, I didn't know about that. That's sad. Hopefully it goes well. I also like those guys, Anton. Right. Rigai, Thorson. How do you deal with annoying parents who don't understand why you coach their kids their way? Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know if you're a coach also, or you are player and then you witness this, but this is very common, right? It depends. It's really like relative. So sometimes you would try to really stay kind of hold back, or you don't want to really make of too much arguments. But sometimes if you feel like they're okay to, they will listen, right? You kind of know maybe the type of parent, you can kind of already estimate. So sometimes I would just be very strict, and I would say, I understand that you care and that you want your kid to play their best possible tennis, but during my trainings, this is how we're gonna do it. So I would appreciate if you would also respect that, and if you kind of allow us to do our thing. So I would try to talk nicely, but still kind of try to give them, you know, point out like who is who here. But on the other hand, if some parents could be a bit more difficult, then you kind of want to. I don't like to have conflicts, with parents and on the court, especially when they're kids. When kids are around, maybe I would try to talk them aside like some other time and arrange some meeting. Um, Try to explain. that we both have the same interests. So we want their kid to play their best. So we need to find a solution. But it's a difficult thing. I understand. Oh my God, there's a lot of comments and a lot of questions. I need to, if I go this way, I will never go through all the questions. So let me just, okay, here what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go quickly and read the question, and then I'm gonna stop at the question, which I think it's kind of fits. So hopefully that works. Okay, your serve info was very helpful. Okay. One-handed backhand, Patrick. Any advice in dealing with high balls above your chest? Yeah, I'm not a natural one-hander. Actually, I feel more natural when I swing with one hand, but I don't play one-handed backhand. Any tips for this is try to watch the videos, find as many as you can, like slow motions, whatever. I know you cannot find like a specifically like watch the high ball, but just watch, observe like how they're like moving, like what is their motion. Obviously, from my knowledge, which is probably similar with other shots, high forehand and high two-handed backhand, you need to elevate your swing. So you still need to have that kind of like a racket drop, right? So if it's a normal swing and the ball is high, you won't be able to do that. So you need to go. You still need to have the leverage above that the level of the contact point, so you can still kind of have the racket drop. And the high balls, yes, you want to avoid jumping that, allowing that ball to go above your chest level. So the chest level should be the max, and usually that should be the ball on the rise. So that's how I can answer that question. Hopefully that helps. How do you like to wind down after daily workouts? Reading a book, that feels good, and that kind of puts me in a nice calm state before sleep. Is the forehand power from legs or from loose wrist? Yeah, I would say it's a tough to answer because it also can come from the hip, right? From the hip, like unlocking or like turning the hips. But nowadays you can see like these guys, they're like with such a small movement of the arm, they can produce so much power even in when the stretch position, which means the legs are really not that important because they can do a lot with their arm, like in the swing, as long as they're in a balanced position. So I would say it's combined, but you can still get away if you have a perfect timing and if your grip matches the ball and all this, your position, you can create a lot of power with a good like just from the arm, from the forearm and the wrist. You can still create amazing power there. Play today with new Clash 98 V2, nice racket. Didn't feel anything on contact. Didn't feel anything on contact. I don't know what does that mean, but looks like you like it. You're happy with it, so that's good. Okay, Dave, textbook Nadal, faking injury, then taking advantage of medical timeout. Also, what gives him the right to take his time serving when holding up? No, kiss the goat. Okay, I didn't watch the match, so I don't know. Why Wilson rackets are best? It's not. They're not the best. This was just a question. What is my preference? So I said Wilson is my favorite. I don't know if they're the best. I mean, it's very relative. Like, what's the criteria? Best based on what? Because you have head rackets, the best. The number 1 and 2 are using head rackets, right? I think is Medvedev a head or maybe Babot? I think it's head. And then you have Djokovic head, right? So it's very relative. If you ever travel to city, do you ever hold clinics or group lessons? You mean like some other city? Like this is definitely the plan. Like I would like to have this, how to call it, trips or traveling everywhere, and hopefully we can visit certain cities and clubs and academies, and then some of the big tournaments hopefully when the situation gets normal and all this. It's a really tough period now. You have not just pandemic, but also the war situation. It's really tough. So let's see. I have problem to deal with measure distance between from me ball to hitting. Help. Okay, very simple. On the forehand, you want to have more space. So you want to hit the ball in front, not just in front, but also on the side. So you need space both ways, like forward and back and left right laterally. On the back end, you want to have still some space laterally, right? But not too much in front. You want to hit in front, but closer. Here I talk about two-handed backhand. So on the backhand side, think about it. It's a little bit closer. Forehand, more space. Backhand, a bit closer. Hope that makes sense. I ended up again answering all the questions because I don't want to skip something, but then I feel bad. Like a video which you showed how to slide on hard court. I'm training is a small session day by day, but really hard to get more balance flexibility from Vietnam. Wow, that's amazing. Thanks for that. That was a tough video, and it's definitely very dangerous to do that. So be careful. I was thinking always that video should have started with maybe some exercise on clay courts, right? Where you first practice to slide on clay, and then once you master that, then it's better to try it on hard court. It really depends also on the surface of the hard court because some of them are very rough. You cannot really slide, so I need to be careful with that. Jeff, late for the talk. How do you prepare mentally for a match, or how do you teach your students about mental fitness? Jeff, excellent question. And something I put a lot of emphasis. It's that mental preparation. It's one part of it. One part of it is visualization. Visualization, right? So you visualize everything that's about to happen and try to go like very very detailed way. So you imagine how you're stepping on the court, how you're going to play, what kind of day is it, who is your opponent, everything, and then you visualize yourself playing, close to your best tennis, and then try to accept that feeling, and then you start believing that kind of like this positive thinking, like affirmations, positive affirmation, how to say it, but it's also just like an exercise. And another thing is huge. Think about it as something super fun. So it's not death penalty. Are you not gonna go and like, or it's not like something terrible like interview for some job, or even in that situation you should think about, oh, let's go and have fun. So the point is to why you play. Why you play. You want to enjoy the sport and have fun, compete and enjoy the competition, the challenge. So those two will be the main parts of preparation. And of course then, adding to the mental preparation is whatever you can do physically to get ready, get rest, maybe do some meditation also helps. Struggling with my serve development. When I do shallow swings, I'm very happy with my pronation. And second, bringing out the racket edge. However, when the ball comes in play, I do racket panky. Do you have a tip to translate a good shallow swing from actual striking a ball? Yeah, I understand. Very typical problem with the racket edge and opening, hitting. Yes. Yeah, I mean there are a couple of ways. A lot of these different drills for that. Like thinking about the saluting here, and the one thing I mentioned in one of the last videos on the serve is like when you start that you kind of open the racket first, so the racket is not. Okay, first time I'm gonna use the racket here. Luckily, I'm a tennis guy, so you see I just turn around and hop, there's a racket. Or maybe it means that my apartment is super small. Either way. So usually you start like this, but you start and open the racket when you're serving, right? So in that way you have the wrist a little bit inwards instead of here, inwards. So when you get here, you can have a bit instead of like this. If you start flat, and you go here, it's gonna happen like this, right? So bam, inwards, and then it can go more here. And then also adding to that is that kind of go more saluting motion, right? Saluting motion. And okay, to be honest, I had a problem. I think if I go for my full serve, because this is like the fastest when you're focused on the power, I still feel that I'm like kind of opening here. But I improved it. I definitely improved it in the last couple of years, only thanks to, I don't know, thousands of motions. And this is every time when I'm doing the serve and my players are returning. So even when I do it with kids or something, and I just do like a half serve, like a slow, I just do this kind of motion, right? I'm always aware of it. I'm never gonna just completely wander around and then uh, wander off and then just look at my player. Which, of course, I'm focused on my player, but I'm not gonna just like forget about what I'm doing here. I'm gonna be aware, and I'm gonna always do this. And in the beginning, it's weird because I was also like, you can see some of the videos I have in the beginning on the serve. You can check it out. I have some slow motion. It's completely flat like this, and this is like 4 years ago. And now that became here much more naturally, only because of thousands of serves. So this is really a slow process. You just have to do reps. That's my honest answer here. Hope that makes sense. And the next one, love the channel, Steve. Who has the best single-handed back in your opinion? Can be any player now or previous. My pick is Gustavo Kuerten. Yeah, the sound when he hits the ball on that clay court, on the central court in Roland Garros. Suzanne Lenglen, what is the Philippe Chatrier? I forgot. And then the echo, it's like, wow. Yeah, definitely he's up there. And from the current players, the one-handed back, and I like Roger. Roger is amazing. Dimitrov kind of replicated Roger, and then you have obviously Wawrinka, Gasquet. They say they're like the best backends. Yeah, these guys, amazing. What are your 5 most overlooked training elements? Ooh, wow, great. But 5 is like a bit. It's a huge number, right? Definitely, return will be the number one. If I think about my junior times, I didn't really work on the returns. Footwork, I would think more from perspective of my players, or let's say all the players I had experience to train with. Smashes, like people don't train smashes at all. Like, and then I have these players, like these juniors, and these players are still kind of learning, like terrible with smashes. They're good on the baseline and all this, like, and then they we do some smash and they're like missing like 5 out of 10. Like every second smash they miss, every second smash. So definitely overlooked. So that you should pay more attention to that. Maybe drop shots. Some more like shots that are maybe not that common, but still can make a big difference. Slices. You will rarely see. You will mostly see people are doing just forehand backhands, and that's like 80-90%. This is not easy to keep talking nonstop, but really, really fun. I wish we can interact more. Next time I'll try to. I don't know. I need to figure out how to get this half screen, or how we can have somebody can join the video. I think this has to be some different software. I'm not sure. I don't think YouTube can do it, right? How to swing heavy racket. This maybe you asked because the one of the last videos I talked about. Think about the heavy racket, maybe, because that means like you want to engage more full body, right? Not focus on just arms, but the way you drop, the way you pull the racket, so you're like completely engaging from toes to your hair, full body engaged. Can you please do video on serve hitting wide body T serve from both side and deuce with same technique? Yes, sir. Let's screenshot that. Okay, great question. Dude, what do you think of great base tennis? Yeah, I think I'm following them. They have really, really great approach to tennis, some great ideas, great thinking. I think they're good. They know what they're doing, and I had a recommendation to follow them by a very good friend and somebody who is, I can say, one of the best tennis coaches in the world. So I think they're good for both first and second serves. Okay, why do you consider Djokovic better than you, even though we see you the same? Why do you think he's better? It's funny question. Yeah, obviously he's the best in the world. I mean, you can argue. Someone would argue now who is the best, but if you consider all the stats, it's just black and white. Okay, now he doesn't have the most Grand Slams, but in terms of dual matches and all these other things, I think he's right up there to be the best. The difference is the same as between me and all the other pros, like the top players. First of all, they've been trained in that, how to say, like, perfect way. They had the professional team around for many years. So not just the tennis coach, the physio, the person organizing, the making the plans, and they have the perfect, like, lifestyle. Everything is focused around tennis. So I think that's the biggest thing. Like, you invest like many years, and everything is all around, making you a better player. So you're like living that 100%. So the difference is that, I went through the other route, studies and a couple of different degrees, different lifestyle as well, but I still kept the passion. So yeah, it's interesting. And then, of course, this results in a more, like, how to say, tangible differences. If you would compare us now, definitely, if we would play the match, when we rally, when we play, I think you can still see it, but maybe less. If we play the match, that would be like embarrassing. I think it will be still fun though. I tried to imagine a few times, and I already, like, you get so, like, pumped up just by thinking about it, that one day maybe we can arrange like an exhibition match. I think the biggest difference will be movement and the quality of shots, consistency of shots, the depth, the power. Also, the power, maybe not on every shot. I could match the power on some shots, like serve and forehand, maybe. Definitely backhand, not able to match that. That's like the best in the world. And the movement, of course, will be like 5 times slower than him. And yeah, but all this, it's a result from 10, 15 years of consistent training on the highest possible level. So that was the question. Interesting question, though. Of course, I'd like to answer that. Establish it before the first lesson. Always work for me. My wife and I think you are just as great. Thanks. Have you seen the movies King Richard's Born? I've seen Moneyball. I think I've seen Moneyball. This King Richard, this is the new one I didn't see. And Born versus I don't know this one. Do you have any good resources to improve the mental side of tennis? I've read Inner Game of Tennis, which is good book, but I still occasionally struggle in matches against better player. Steve, thanks. I don't have the resource. I don't know. I don't have the moment. Maybe you should check out the TENFITMEN podcast. This is a good answer. Yeah, we have some episodes on the mental side, so maybe that could help. So you can try that. Please, okay. I think I need to. Okay, I need to wrap up soon. Oh my God, guys, you're amazing. You keep adding comments, questions. I cannot finish that. Can you please do a video on two-handed down the line? Okay, that's a bit specific. Also, I want to thank you. Your videos are great. Lessons, tips. I think you're a great player. I will see you on the tour. Thanks so much, Anton. Really means so much. Really appreciate it. Very special to hear that. Christopher, rackets and strings are an individual choice. Your preferred drill to help the racket to come up on edge when serving. Ooh. I need to a little bit focus here. What does that mean? Christopher, very specific, deep question. Your preferred drill to help the racket to come up on edge when serving. Oh, okay. So you mean like how to, what's the best way to focus that edge is going down and edge going up, right? Bam. Here. Shadow swinging. And also the good one is to just hitting the edge, you know, just focusing to hit the ball with the edge, actually hitting edge. So obviously you're gonna miss a lot, but you want to have that sound like you literally hit a frame. So you get used to that motion, how the racket here, how the wrist is not opening, but you want to go all the way. And then you're just gonna add, just at the end, you're gonna add the pronation here. Okay. Hope that helps. I try to be nice, guys. Go quickly through everything. Let me see if I can do it. Your create player as skills. Why you consider Novak's skill much better skills than you? You hit a lot of shots different than you. Yeah, I explained it's a different level, guys. I know, like from the side, it could seem we are similar. We're not. It's a huge difference. But yeah, we can still train. It could be fun to play some exhibition. Any fixes for opening shoulders too early on single-handed backhand? Too early, yes. So you're trying to stretch your chest. Just think about stretching chest and then getting that non-dominant arm back, right? So when you play, I had to swing up because I have here a teapot. So don't knock it down, right? So it's bam, stretch. If you don't stretch, you might go here. And so stretch your chest and try to keep your head still at the contact point, so you're not turning your head. That's gonna keep you there. Think of Roger, right? When he hits, it's like the head is so still. I think that should help. Thank you so much for taking the time. Always happy. You're okay. This one we read. Most important tip when learning tennis by yourself with YouTube videos: record yourself regularly, compare, right, what you learned and what you're working on, and then compare it with the pros. Find the videos, record yourself from the same angles, whatever you have the videos. Just keep going forth and back and forth, back and forth on the court. Play, record, come back, watch the video, analyze again, and this is how you're gonna improve. That's golden tip. This worked for me as well, because I'm like my own coach for the last couple of years. I believe I improved as well. So, okay, that was it. Grazie. Grazie. Ciao, grazie dei tuoi consigli. I wish I can read the Italian. You can create a Zoom call and share the link. In this call, everyone can turn on. Oh, nice. Nice idea, Chris. This is what I like so much. Thanks. I like all the suggestions. Actually, today I had this Zoom workout, and then actually, why not? We can have the Zoom call. We can have the Zoom. I don't know how many people can join in the Zoom though, but we can have that for sure. And then we can have you all and discuss. Great. Any comparisons, reviews, Naomi and Barty tennis skills? I wish I can do that, and this is a bit embarrassing. Obviously, I know these players, but I don't think I would be like so competent to analyze their differences, right? I know, like, I think Barty is like really, she's playing like smart tennis. She's like super smart. She thinks a lot. Naomi's a bit more on a speed. She's like playing fast tennis. But yeah, I don't think I could go more in depth there. I want to just go through, finish this, finish here through all these comments. Could you please talk about loading on the serve? As you're about to serve, is the weight on the front leg more or on the back leg? Yeah, good question. I think, well, first depends, like what you're doing, like pinpoint stance or platform stance. But either way, I think like weight should be, obviously you need to distribute the weight equally, right? But then as you're pushing off, it seems like the weight will be a little bit more on the front foot, just a tiny bit more, but you still want to use that force off the ground. When you push off, you need to push off from both legs, because the back leg, right, it has to go up at the end, and then you have that kickback, bam, kickback with the back leg. So in order to do that, you have to push off from the back leg. So even though, like, when you think about it, it makes sense that if you do a pinpoint stance, because of the nature, when you go bam and then jump, right, bam and jump, bam and jump, it's going to be more on the front foot kind of. And when you do a platform, you kind of maybe sit a bit back on the back foot. But I would kind of think it's equally, maybe a little bit more on the front. Borg versus McEnroe movie. Okay, I don't think I watched. Hey, you guys, put great stuff. I have a question. What is the right thing to do if we play normal tennis, then suddenly the opponent starts slowing the ball and pushing the ball? Typical. Okay, again, this is a great question. I try to screenshot some of the great questions. Later on, I can use this in maybe podcast or some other video when I make. Svetoslav, great question. I'm sure a lot of guys here can relate to this, so it's a great topic to cover. What do you do? And this, finally, now I can talk about it, and I believe I have the right to do it. I have a certain amount of experience with it and some knowledge. It happened to me so many times as a junior player, and I have one match comes to my mind immediately. Same, I was just destroying the opponent, and it was one of my biggest rivals, right? And it was a regional tournament, something, in Serbia, in our region. For me, it was a big tournament. I think it was like quarterfinals or semifinals. I was up 6-0, 3-0, literally one-way highway. It's just like ridiculous. Like, I'm destroying him, and then suddenly, exactly, he just started playing moon balls. Of course, I think that was under 16, maybe under 14. I don't know. It's like, I don't know. For some reason, I couldn't really deal with that at that stage. So now when I look back and when you ask me this question, it just, immediately comes to my mind. The first thing you need to do when they start slowing the ball, right, pushing the ball, the most common mistake is that you kind of start panicking a bit. You start panicking, or you start like rushing, and you think like, oh no, you start feeling nervous because you don't like it, and you think like you have to do something with every single ball, right? So because when they push the ball, it comes kind of dead, and you think like, oh, I need to do something, and then you rush into mistakes. This is the most common thing that happens. So first, you have to kind of keep the composure and just accept it. Okay, that's fine. I'm here. I'm not gonna be stupid. I'm not gonna kind of get into this trap, and I'm gonna stay patient. Look for my chances. I know it's easy to say, right? You just stay patient and wait for the right ball. But you gotta keep it simple like that. Just when you think you have a chance, you have to commit. Like, there is no like gray area. Like, you have to go like full on. Like, when you have a chance, you just go. But you can slowly start preparing the point, right? If they're just pushing the ball, you can slowly kind of take those balls, take charge. You shouldn't just go on the defense and just play the whole day. That's not what you want, because this is what usually when the players start doing that, it's rarely it's like out of desperation. It's more like because they kind of have this kind of style, or it's their plan B or something. They feel comfortable to play that, right? If they do that as a plan B, then you can be smart about it, and you can also maybe try to mix it up. Another thing is you can go play a few more like shorter balls, lower balls, slices, drop shots. Mix it up, and definitely going to the net. Coming to the net, it will be huge. But when you go to the net, they won't be able to do that. So if I play now against this kind of player, or they start doing that in the middle of the match, I would just smile. I would love it. I would love it, because I know exactly what I would do. So that's the best thing. Thoughts on Kitsmanovic run in the Indian Wells? Yes, amazing. So he played quarterfinals, right? I think he did quarterfinals. Amazing. He beat Berrettini and some other like big players. Huge, huge, insane. I think he has so much more to to show, and he will play some big matches, have some big results for sure. Especially if Nola is there and can kind of mentor him. I mean, he already helped. Nola already helped so many of these Serbian players. He was there always for them, giving them support and all this amazing advice. You cannot get better advice than from Djokovic, right? Schedule these lives more often. I came upon this by accident. Thanks, Christopher. Yeah, I would like to do it as well. I will try it. Really appreciate your feedback. Um, I was referring to waiter straight seven, sir. Okay. Any tips on hitting 20 backhand against slice? Stay low. Stay low. As you hit the ball, don't lift. You gotta stay low and just like lift. Actually, I like these slow backhands for some reason. I love them. I love them. For me, it was never a problem. It's usually the higher ball. It's a little bit more difficult for me. I guess this also depends on your grip and how you kind of exit the contact point. One thing you can do is I mentioned in the last video for the two-hander, like that you focus on the bottom edge as you're hitting, so you're like scooping a little bit as you hit, a little bit scoop. And I also noticed Fritz. Watch Fritz. Check some videos if there is some slow motion for the backhand. He does that. He does that a lot. Like when he hits the ball, so I hit the ball here, so it's not like this, but it's like zick. This is the bottom edge here, so it's why I use my hands here. Zick. He does that and then even finishes here. All right. Every time Pete Freeman and Melbourne. As for coaches, we want to see in their tennis summits, and let's give your name. Yeah, cool. Yeah, Meherban. Yeah, he asked me for the summit. He asked me this year, so I would be there. So that's great. Thanks. Platform videos are wonderful. Watch at least one video every day. Wow, thanks a lot. As long as it helps, you should watch as many as you can, so you become great player, right? I mean, you keep improving, so that's the goal. While serving, just before you jump, you either have your legs together or apart. Good night. Yep. I'm gonna also go to bed very soon. Do you think slices should be used more as a attack option rather than only hitting a regular deep flatty or with topspin? Yeah, slices are great. I think you should mix it up. You should use them for every occasion. Defense, offense, and neutralizing the ball, changing the pace. It's just an amazing weapon. I think it's just super underrated. People don't use it. What makes Daniel Medvedev so tough to beat, though he doesn't play clean strokes? I'd actually think he plays very clean. He plays super clean, and he's hitting the ball with a sweet spot every time. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to hit with so much pace. And yeah, I think he's tough to beat because he's solid on both sides. He runs like crazy. He has amazing, good serve, great hands. He can compensate so much with the wrist on a lot of shots. So when he's in difficult position, he's able to, come up with this whatever way of twisting and he can hit. He can place the balls anywhere in the court. Like he's so good. So this is also thanks to the amazing feel, and obviously he trains so much. His body is in a crazy, how to say, like physical shape. He is super flexible, similar like Nola, right? He's able to keep his balance, and this is how he can produce these crazy shots, like in the corners and from the stretch angles. And he plays super smart. I mean, he's strong everywhere. Even though it's a bit unorthodox techniques, he's great. I mean, number one. I think now he dropped to number two. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think Djokovic again number one because he lost early. I think at Indian Wells. How often do you use a set of balls? How often do you use a set of balls? I don't understand this question. Thanks for hosting this Q&A. My 10-year-old daughter complains that my shoes tend to be high bouncing with a quite a grip. My shots. Okay, can you make a video on how to hit flatter? Wow, that's rarely the question, but why not? Imagine if players would complain that Rafa's shots are too bouncy. Thanks again for answer. Waiting for more stuff of yours. Welcome. You're welcome, Svetoslav. Always happy to help. Since you have some time, watch the movies. I wish you the best. I have to go. Yeah, sure. I want to finish it. I want to continue until I finish the streak of questions. Almost there. On the 2 and back and leading with bottom edge, is it same if you want a short angle? Maybe yes, it makes sense, but it's a little bit different finish, right? If you want the ball short angle, you will finish a bit different. Yeah, with the edge, you can maneuver the racket and you can hit different lengths, different depths of the shots. Yeah. Will you get back to future sometimes, George? I hope so. I will. I want to come back. Oh, the Instagram live is off. The phone just turned off. No battery. Okay, lucky the laptop is connected with the cable. Okay, what are the major points on hitting a low short ball? Forehand or backhand side? Paul, major points on hitting a low short ball. Okay. I think the number one is how quickly you get to the ball. You got to be super fast, especially that you're able to read the ball and you do the split step on time and then you can start moving. So you have to be super aggressive with that movement. And then, so when you're running there, you need to start. This is the most common mistake. Like players run there without the swing, or they make the swing first and then they run in a side position. So you got to do it kind of in the nice, like fluid way. So as you start running, you should start the swing, but you should make the swing as you're running, right? So you need to run in the fastest possible manner while doing the swing. And then as you get there in a good position, first of all, you need to read that, what's the right position, and then keeping the space, not running too close to the ball. So you still need to have some space. And then you got to stay calm as you hit. Hope that makes sense. How to struggle with excitement against a new opponent when nothing works and my tennis becomes like newbie's tennis. So good. Wow. You guys are awesome. Yeah. This is so good. Everybody who plays, they can relate to this question. This is why I like them. Honestly, the only thing you can do is just play more and kind of get used to that. And as I said, you can prepare for the match mentally, like visualize your best tennis regardless of the opponent, and say to yourself, tell yourself, I'm going to have fun. It's going to be super competitive and challenging, but I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to like that kind of the butterflies feeling, the nerves. And you can focus on the breathing, try to calm yourself down, and always just think about the breaths and how you like inhale, exhale, and then just like have some routines. Yeah, that's it. How often do you play with a tube of balls before you toss them away due to being flat? Okay. Well, I use the basketball, so that's probably gonna last a bit longer than the one tube. So we usually use like 72 balls. I don't know. I think you should change them like every week or 10 days, something like that. But it depends. It depends on the level of the player. Sometimes they will last longer. When do you recommend the one-handed? But let's say for the one tube, I know what you mean. Like if you're just training with 3 balls, like I think I would probably, if I would just play, like have the high level training, I think one can. It could last 2 sessions, I think, or even though the second session already the balls would really like worn out. So yeah, like that. What do you recommend the one-handed backhand to players and when? When? It's tough, Chris. I would usually go with two-hander, especially if they're like young. It's tough to start with one-handed, but then also doesn't make sense to change to one-handed later. So it's very tricky. Like for me, I would always first recommend two-handed backhands when they're starting. It's just easier. What string tension do you use? 25 kg in the like summertime. Now I put it down to 24. What exercise do you have to improve to the earlier ignition of the ball's direction flight? Uh, this is just reaction. This is the hand, like eye, like hand eye. It's not hand eye coordination. It's more like reactions. Um, you can do if you have a partner and you face the wall, and then they will like toss the ball, so you can just work the ball bounces against the wall and you catch the ball. It's more for reaction. But for this visual thing, you see that the players, they have this device with the different colors, LED lights. So you try to touch the lights. This is just working on that. Quick reaction. How do you recover after games after the shoulder, elbow, wrist pains? Very tough. I think this is again not the best person for this. You need to talk with experts. Make sure that you recover. Make sure you do all the rehab and the rest. That's it. How to play? It's tough to It depends what kind of pain, what's the injury, what's the level of the injury. How to play with an opponent who like to play low flat ball and slice to my forehand. Yeah, I guess you have a very specific opponent that that they know your weakness. So what about your forehand? Maybe you have an extreme grip. You don't like that low balls. Yeah, just try to stay low. Try to do a different game style. Go to the net. Make it a bit different and difficult for them to play that same pattern. I can seem to generate a good topspin using my two-handed backhand. No issues before. Any tips on that? The topspin for two-handed backhand comes from the racket drop. That means you don't have the racket drop. I can only say, or you have it, but it's not so like efficient. Get this loose wrists. To get the more topspin, you gotta go. If you really want, you need to go more loose, and the drop needs to be very, very like emphasized, and use of the non-dominant arm. Is there a perfect racket position right before you start accelerating the racket to the ball, like strings? Strings pointing down, or the racket handle is higher than the racket tip. Yeah, I like to have the racket face pointing down on the forehand. On the backhand, also a little bit closed, right? And the racket handle, yeah, that's good. Those are the good points. I think you're on a good way. Nothing wrong with that. How do you know if the racket is perfect for you? Video pronation progression on serve, flat size kick. Not bad. Not bad. Great questions. The racket is perfect if you feel comfortable with it. If you like the colors of it. I'm kidding. Yeah. It should feel good for your game style. It should fit your game style. Thanks for the advice for the video. I will do that. On the Blaze pods. Great tool. I just meant, what is your general recovery routine after games? Yeah. Good stretch. And if there is some injury, then you do some like physio. And then rest up. Maybe ice after some injuries. Thank you indeed for advices. I'm hoping you can do some of it. Discuss some single strategy against different types of play style. Okay, another screenshot. Thanks, Glory Seeker. And Alexander, how do you end up living in China? I was very random circumstance. I got offered to come here, and so I did. And I've been here 6 years. I did not plan that. When getting attacked, I subconsciously switched to continental grip. Any tips for quickly changing the correct grip? Wow, that means like you're still learning. It should be very natural to have the normal your regular grip. It doesn't matter what's the situation, right? Just need to play more. Use the non-dominant hand to maneuver the racket, right? I guess you're talking about the forehand, so you keep the grip. So just, you need to keep this one so you can get the right grip, non-dominant hand. All right. Thank you guys. My throat is super dry. I can barely talk, but I really loved it. Almost 1.5 hours. Wow, this is by far the longest live, and it's almost 1 a.m. Yeah, I'm ready to go to dreamland. Thank you again, everybody, for all the amazing comments. We had a lot of interaction. I really appreciate it, and I'll try to announce it next time, and in advance, so we know when. So when we have this live, and again, maybe we'll organize the Zoom call next time, so we can have even more interaction. It's going to be more fun. Thanks again. I hope some of these tips helped you. Will help you as well, and that you had some fun. It was great. Tennis time, tennis talk, and I'll see you next time. Adios. Have a great day. Have a great night. Take care.